Bonnie here from Ballerinas by Night. Today I'm going to talk about something that's not really our most fun topic ever. I want to talk about when is enough enough. Ballet is a tough taskmaster. It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of hours in the studio, especially if you're performing. It really can feel like it starts to take over your life. And there are a lot of rewards to that. There are a lot of things about that that we value as dancers. But when we are adults and we have other things we're trying to balance in our lives, you know, it might be school, it might be work, it might be a family, you know, there comes a time when we have to sit back and ask ourselves, you know, are we out of balance with our life outside of ballet and ballet? I mean, especially, I know for myself, I have a family, and it's very, very difficult to continually walk out that door away from them, and, you know, those are my responsibilities, and they're just, you know, they're the people that love me as well, and so my time put into ballet, which is something I love, at times starts to feel very selfish when it ends up taking time away from those people I love. And it's a very difficult game to play. How much is enough? One thing about this is, well, there's a couple of things I want to say about it. One, I really believe that we have to try and go in cycles with our dancing and with our time put into it. And, you know, we might have waves of when we put more time to it, and then we might have waves where we feel like we need to step back. And to really know that that's okay, and try not to feel guilty either way. You know, if you have a time when you're performing and you're very excited about that, and it's a new and exciting thing, then really go with it, enjoy it. If you have a time when then you need to step back and put more time into the other things, whatever they may be, don't feel guilty about that. Sometimes we might be dealing with just how our bodies feel and how an injury is going. And I know Jana has had some times this year where she's taken a step back from doing so many classes to let things heal. And then when she's gone to class, it's felt so much better. So we have to take all these things into consideration when we are an adult dancer. But the main thing I want to really emphasize, because I've had all these different stages in my life, stages of how much I've been dancing. And the only time I use the word regret, I try not to regret anything, but the only time in terms of ballet that I regret is when I had over 3 years that I was completely not part of it. You know, the last year before I moved, when Jana and I started this YouTube channel, I had a spare bedroom in my house and I turned it into a dance studio, and I did class in there every day. I don't have a bedroom to have a dance studio now, but I have a living room, and I'll go in there sometimes and give myself bar. Luckily, the situation I'm in now, I'm very lucky that it doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation. And that can be very difficult when you feel like, well, you know, I'm either, and depending on what our opportunities are, it can feel like, well, I have to be kind of all in or all out sometimes. And that's very hard. But hopefully, most people are going to be in a situation where they have a studio where you can perform or not, and take class or not, and so that even if you need to take a step back, that you can still stay somewhat plugged in. And that's what I really would like to encourage, is that if you're feeling that you know, have been kind of out of balance, and maybe you've been putting too much time into dancing and it's a little bit overwhelming you and it's time to take a step back, try and keep just like a toe in and 1 foot in the door. It's just so that you have it there, and it keeps the door open, it keeps the communication open. Also, it's very, very difficult, especially as adults, that if we're not taking class regularly, we start to lose a lot of this stuff so fast, and it's so frustrating. what can you do? I mean, you know, sometimes I feel like if I take a week off, it's going to be 3 months before I'm back where I was. And it's just something we have to deal with and do our best with, which is why I like to try and keep doing at least some bar work at home. But we also just have to realize, you know, we can't expect ourselves to keep up with dancing full-time, or I mean even 2-3 nights a week. I mean, that's a huge commitment when you have a job and a family or school or whatever it is you're doing. It might not be sustainable for the long haul, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that, you know, if you take a step back and can't do all that all the time, that there's anything wrong with that. And I think in order for us to keep dancing as long as we can, we just have to keep that in the back of our minds that, okay, sometimes I'm going to be doing more, sometimes I'm going to be doing less, and where am I right now? You know, is this a time when I'm going to do more? And if so, then realize that and commit to it and be excited about it. But if it's time to do less, then, you know, don't stress out about that either. And if you're doing less, don't feel like you can't go back to doing more at some point. Try not to make it an all or nothing thing. Everything's all about balance, and so that's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to figure out how to keep the balance going so that we can continue as long as possible. I know that's not the most happy of subjects. It's really been, you know, personal to me, some stuff that's been going on in my life, trying to figure out, you know, how much time I can continue putting into everything. And it's very easy to start feeling like different things are, you know, pulling at our time and get stressed out about that. So that's all I have for today. Let me know, you know, how do you keep the balance in your life? What have you found as a good balance? Is it, you know, 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week or 1 night a week? Or do you have a schedule for maybe certain times of the year where you go more, or certain times of the year where you go less? How do you balance it all? And let me know. I think it's a discussion we need to continue having so that we all can keep with it and keep encouraging ourselves. And other than that, again, I asked in my last video if you had any ideas for tutorials, because I'm really hoping to get some tutorials done. So if you have anything for that, please let me know, and we'll see you next time. Bye.